Hey guys, this is Ed, Paul, and Anna of Current Brand Media, and we are here to tell you a little bit more about our sponsor.
Sportsball is a great subscription service geared towards minor league baseball fans. Each box features a different minor league team.
You get a box every 3 months with minor league baseball gear, including different styles of hats like Ed's favorite, the dad hat. The cost is less than $12 a month.
Proceeds from each box goes to More Than Baseball, the only nonprofit dedicated to the well-being of minor league baseball players.
We all know that Parents' Days are coming up this summer, so if you've got a mom or a dad or a grandma or a grandpa who are particularly difficult to buy for, but you know they're baseball fans, this is the answer, guys.
Meet your new favorite team at sportsballbox.com.
Is there anybody there?
What's up, Deadhead crew? Ed here, and on this episode, I sat down with Jason Klein. He is one half of the Brandiose team. We talked about the process in which the team goes in, decides to how they're going to approach a logo. We discussed the seal slingers and the fish sticks, the very tough battle that happened during the summer. Still a little hurt, guys, but we're going to prevail right here with the seal slingers. I'm not letting go of that one. And then finally, we discussed the Puerto Rico Baseball Winter League and then how they came up with two logos for the league and one of the teams down there. So without further ado, guys, I'll give you the episode. All right. Well, I want to welcome you guys to yet another episode of the Deadhead Chronicles. Obviously, I'm Ed, and with me today, I have a very special guest for you guys. I have, half of Brandiose, Mr. Jason Klein. How are you doing, my man?
Fantastic. I'm so excited for this. This is going to be a great episode.
Yes, I'm very excited. Obviously, as you can tell by my voice right now, I'm like totally going to be geeking out on this. So I do apologize ahead of time for all the 5 or 6 listeners.
No, this is going to be the greatest podcast ever.
You got that right. It is. All right. So the first question that I ask everybody is pretty simple. Growing up as a kid, obviously the two of you, what was the one thing that got you, hooked on sports, on baseball specifically? How did you become a fan?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't think I've ever been asked that. Growing up here in San Diego, we had the Padres, we had the Chargers, and I know we went to a lot of Padres games when we were younger. And one of the things that may be surprising, but it wasn't what was happening on the field, but it was what was happening off the field. And we were in the heyday growing up as kids when the San Diego Chicken was here, the famous San Diego Chicken mascot.
Yep.
And no matter what was going on the field, the crowd was captivated by this giant blue and red and yellow chicken that was doing these antics in the crowd. And he would do stuff that was just outrageous, and he would captivate the entire crowd, and the entire crowd was laughing. And I think, that combined with, the Padres, they're in the bean and cheese era where they were wearing brown and gold, and there was a little bit of orange in there. It was just, there was so much color, both in the antics and, in the uniforms, that it was a fun time here in San Diego. And I remember getting into that. I remember, at Baskin Robbins 31 Flavors ice cream, they were giving out these like NFL football helmet ice cream sundaes where you would get and I would go in, and I remember getting the New York Jets, and I was really into airplanes as a kid. And so I was like, oh man, the Jets, there's a team called the Jets. I didn't know anything. And so I was like, yeah, this is amazing. And so we made home videos where we got our stuff. I don't know what you call them today. Stuffies, I think you call them today, or plush dolls or whatever. I had I think it was like Alvin and the Chipmunks. We put the helmets on them, and Casey and I would orchestrate home video. Casey's dad would record on his VHS camcorder us making fake movies with these stuffed animals playing with these ice cream helmets. And it was just I think I was really captivated by not just the game, but how we dressed up the game, how we celebrated the game, the pageantry, the antics, the famous chicken, the mascots, all of this cultural stuff that we create around the game that identifies each team differently, and how we celebrate our communities and how we celebrate the stories and the legends. I think that that's my earliest memory of, how we got to where we are today.
It's funny you say that, because a lot of us, in this minor league community that, we're part of and everything, is, yes, we love what's on the field, right? Obviously,
Yes.
with affiliated baseball, you have a lot of those players that have no choice but to be there. So for us fans, what we also pay attention to is those logos, the uniforms, and
Right.
November is the most wonderful month there is, right? Because it's Logovember. You
That's
guys
right.
you guys are a big part of that. So growing up, when I came, first when I came from, from Puerto Rico, and I went to my first Major League Baseball game, is I'm noticing the jerseys, I'm noticing the hats, and all the, like you said, the pageantry on the field. And that's what really got me hooked. The game actually, came afterwards, but not the game itself. Is everything that was surrounding it. So
yeah. What I love about it is that, unlike, I don't want to take away from the game, but what happens on the field, players can be traded. Stats are stats. There are personalities of each individual player.
Yep.
But the game is pretty excuse me, consistent.
Yep.
And what separates Boston from New York or LA from San Diego is the stories that we tell off the field about what happened on the field, and
Correct.
the way that we celebrate our local culture, how we infuse that into the ballpark experience, how we color and dress the stadium and
Yep.
the players and the mascots and the music, and all of that stuff is what makes being a Yankee fan different from being a Red Sox fan.
Agree.
I mean,
Totally
when it
agree.
boils down to it, that's what it is. It's what happens. It's it's the stories that we tell about what happens on the field, even if those players are interchangeable. The stories are not interchangeable. Like, the colors
correct.
are not interchangeable. The mascots, the celebrations, how we do what we do inside the ballpark is not interchangeable. So you can swap, you can trade players, you can move the players between, you can take all the Yankee players and send them to Boston, take all the Boston players and send them to New York. And, the stories that we tell ourselves about what's happening in that park cannot be interchangeable.
And players move so much nowadays. It's just so
Yeah.
hard to keep up. But buying a jersey with the Yankee logo on it or Boston logo on it, even if it doesn't have a name, it's much better than getting for example, put any name of any player, right? And then the next season, or into the season, like here in Cleveland, we've had a lot of that, right? And they're gone. So,
yeah, right. And I think that, the thing that I love is that a Yankees cap not only stands for the Yankees and Babe Ruth and, Joe DiMaggio and,
Yep.
and decades of Yankees baseball, but it stands for things that are intangible, things like Jay-Z, things like even 9/11, it's so connected to that Yankees logo that it stands for the heart and soul of New York as much as it does for the Yankees. And that
is very New York.
Yes. And that is the ultimate goal of everything that we create, and everything that I would hope that every sports team in America does, is that we want that logo not just to stand for that team, but to stand for that city and a spirit and an ideal and a community, and that people can rally behind that, because that's what says Cleveland, that's what says San Diego more than anything else out there. I love when I go to we would go to LA and I see somebody wearing an SD hat.
Yep.
I say, "Oh, are you a Padre fan?" And they go, "No, I'm a San Diegan first." I love that. I love that.
It represents the city, the town that you're in, and that's what I love about it. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. I want to ask you something, because obviously both you and Casey, started the company together in college and all that, and I've seen all that, and a lot of us have heard the story, right? You sent 150 letters, and only one was the one that they got back to you, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So let me ask you, how as you guys handled, how did you handle the rejection, right? Because it made you guys better, in my opinion, right? Because you guys grew from that. So how that rejection, shaped the way that you guys approach everything going forward after when you guys received those letters?
Yeah, that's a great question. When we started out of our college dorm rooms, I remember every one of my friends was going off, graduating and getting these incredible jobs, high paying jobs. And my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, was like, oh man, when are you going to get a real job? We were not making any money. And we were sending letters to every sports team. I mean, like most people, we thought, oh, the dream job would be due to major league work or NFL work or NBA work. And so one of the things about the way that works at the big leagues is it works, the front office, usually in New York, controls all of the design for all the teams. And so there's usually one gatekeeper at the league who controls 30 teams. So if that person has an existing relationship, or they get letters and phone calls all the time because everybody wants to do pro sports work. If that one gatekeeper doesn't anoint you, you don't get the work. You're not going to do the work. And so you have thousands of wolves going after one piece of meat. And I thought, this is silly. And so I was at the University of Alabama on a mascot scholarship, and I was the elephant. I was Big Al the elephant for a couple of years.
That's awesome.
And the woman who was in charge of policing the use of the Alabama logos said, Jason, your work is great. Like, have you thought about doing minor league baseball? And I don't think I'd ever been to, maybe I'd been to a minor league baseball game, but I had never thought about it. She's like, oh, there's a lot of teams. And so we sent 150 letters. And here I am, coming out of college. My girlfriend thinks that, I should get a real job. All my friends are, having successful careers right out the gate. And Casey and I are not making anything. And to make it even worse, we're sending 150 letters, and every club is just rejecting us. And they're like, yeah. And the line we got over and over again was, hey, we're happy with what we got, or we're happy with the firm that we're working with, or we're happy with, I was so frustrated. And so I made a commitment to myself that I was going to figure out how to sell better. And I knew that our work was just as good. The other thing that I realized too was design was subjective. And so I couldn't, and this is the biggest mistake that designers do, is they go in and they think that the logos the team has are not attractive and that they can do a better job of making something more attractive. And they go and they try to convince that owner, hey, aesthetically, your design is not very good. And so therefore I can do a better job. What they don't realize is that owner has an emotional attachment. That owner has an emotional attachment to that brand. The fans have an emotional attachment. So it doesn't matter if you think it's the ugliest logo on earth. You're not going to win by trying to convince somebody that their logos are unattractive. It just doesn't work. So two things that I did. One is I realized we had to get really good at selling. And Casey went and sort of handled the design, and I went and I learned everything I could about selling us, our services, what we could do. I also learned I literally investigated every design firm out there that was doing the type of work that we were doing, and interviewing their clients, how they approach things. I wanted to know, what the standard was because we were young, we were college kids. I wanted to know who the best was, how they did what they did, because I wanted to make sure that not only were we more relevant to the market, but I wanted to make sure that we were different, that we could offer something different and more relevant. And that was the two things. I want to do something different and more relevant, and provide a new opportunity for clubs. And one of the things that we realized was retail sales was such a huge
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, it was everything. And so instead of focusing on design, we focused on what was it going to take to get clubs at the time into the 7-figure club, which means we were going to figure out what the framework was, what the playbook was to get them to sell $1 million of merchandise in the launch year. And so every year over the past 20 years, we test, and we, the first thing was we had to be as good as, we had to provide an experience that was equal to every other design firm that was out there. And that was the first thing that we did, was figure out what they do and do it equally. And then the second thing we had to do was figure out how to do it different.
Right.
And then how to figure out what it was going to take to do $1 million launch. And that was our focus for 20 years, was how do we get to the $1 million launch? And then, every year we get better, we tweak, we try things. Some things don't work very well. And we keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. And ultimately, it was in the newspaper, it's public knowledge, but the Rocket City Trash Pandas did, I think, $4 million in merchandise sales in their launch year. And it was because we just focused on what it took to get there. And ultimately, that was the best sales tool, is that if you can help clubs get into the 7-figure club, you're going to get more work. And I think the thing that I didn't realize when we started, it had nothing to do with design.
I was just going to say, it's like, so you guys just went through the store instead of going through the front office. You guys went like, we're going to go ahead and we're going to approach you guys through the store and tell you and show you guys can be making a whole lot more by just making small tweaks here and there.
Yes, exactly. Because it was how we do the launch, how we get fans excited, how we do everything. We really broke down what it took. And ultimately, I realized early on, we were at the baseball winter meetings in New Orleans, and this was like 2003. And I looked at Casey one day and I asked him, I said, do you think we do good work? And he says, it doesn't matter. And I was like, what do you mean it doesn't matter? Like, at the time Casey was doing most of the design, he goes, it doesn't matter what I think, because design is subjective.
Yeah.
You might think it's the greatest logo on earth. You might think it's not the greatest logo on earth. He goes, we have to change how we measure success, because we can't measure success on something that's subjective. And listen, if I was, back to the New York Yankees, if I was to design the New York Yankees logo, an N and a Y, the way that it looks now, then the New York Yankees did not exist. And what I'm going to say is going to sound blasphemous. The New York Yankees logo aesthetically is not necessarily a great logo.
No,
it's not necessarily a great logo. What it represents and the equity that it's gained over time and the emotion that it's baked into that logo makes it incredibly powerful. It's an incredibly powerful logo, and it is the most valuable sports logo on planet Earth, is that NY. Aesthetically, I don't think it's necessarily great. Now, one of the great things that, maybe your listeners may not know this, but the New York Yankees actually have 3 different NYs that they use.
They do.
They have 3 different NYs. They have the cap logo. They have the jersey logo. There's one more application, but I know they have 3 different uses. And so even, the most valuable logo on planet Earth, has 3 different versions of
different
itself.
variations of the same logo.
Yeah. So someone's like, oh, it's aesthetically beautiful. I'm like, okay, which one is aesthetically beautiful? Well, wait, there's 3 versions? Yeah, there's 3 versions. Well, all 3 are beautiful, right? It's like me sitting down and saying to 3 different people, like, I have an N and a Y, and I want it to be sort of overlap and then go. And then we have a contest between 3 different logos, and we say which one's the best. And somebody goes, no, all 3 of them are amazing. It's like, well, wait a second here. Like, but
Right.
We're going to use them all. So it just goes to show that aesthetics are subjective.
Yeah,
and it's what we put, the stories that we attach to those marks that make them so powerful.
You're absolutely right, because I may think that one logo is great when other people think that the logo is just not doing anything for them. You
Exactly.
know, that's actually what's going on here in Cleveland right now with their Major League Ball club, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and move on because I'm not happy with the logo. So let me ask you, because obviously you've done 20 years of work already, right? So you've tried and you've done some things, tweaked here and here and there. And I recently had a conversation with Justin Moser, the co-owner
Yeah.
of the Dove Sea Fish Sticks now,
I
right?
love Justin.
Oh, such a great dude. I love that guy. But what, when I had him on the podcast, we are talking about, he was like, hey, listen, we're a small collegiate wood bat league. We couldn't compete with a lot of the other teams. And then we had a specific budget. And then, you guys came up with this idea of a fight between seal slingers and fish sticks. My team, seal slingers, lost. Right. But, they're both great logos. And how did you guys, come about that? Because I'll be honest, it's genius.
Yeah. It was interesting because one of the things we do is we always like to have options. Normally in a traditional launch, we have a name the team contest where we will narrow it down to a handful of team names. And ultimately, one comes out of it. Mm-hmm. And at the end, we have these other names, which we have protected, that we thought to ourselves, well, we can do what could have been nights. So mm-hmm. what could have been night is one game during a year, maybe a couple of games. We will say, well, what if the number 2 name of the contest became the actual name? And we're like, what if in a fantasy world, the name that came in second place was the actual name? Let's create a whole identity for that name, and then, and do a what could have been night. And somewhere along the way, we were, we were talking with Justin, we were brainstorming, and we were thinking, gosh, how do we, what if we switched it up? What if we took what could have been nights and made them part of the launch? So what we did was we said, all right, what if there's these 2 names, and which one's going to sell, which one's going to perform better in retail? We don't know. So why don't we put both out there and let the community decide? Let retail sales dictate, well, what do we know? Let's just let the community decide. And ultimately, fish sticks came out on top by a slim margin, but it was a fascinating thing we've never done before. We love doing things that have never been done before. And that was one of the things where we said, let's put it out there. Let's let folks vote with retail sales.
Oh yeah.
And ultimately fish sticks came out on top.
It was great. I mean, the amount of talk from fans overall that I've connected with has been, it's like, what? Either way, it was great, right? There was some good bantering. Even here in my house, I was Seal Slingers fan, and then my wife was a Fish Sticks fan, right? So, and it came down to a house being divided because of a logo you guys created, and the way that it was marketed, it was put out there, and it just took a life of its own.
Yeah. No, it was so fun. I think we're gonna find some fun stuff to do with Seal Slingers. I don't think it's if you bought your Seal Slingers merchandise.
Oh, I got it. Don't you worry.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll find some fun activities for you along down the road.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, so let me ask you about my other, because I was doing a little bit of research, and then this one came up, and I totally forgot about it. Was the Professional Baseball League in Puerto Rico, the Roberto Clemente League. First of all, like I said, I am a huge fan of the league. And then also when you guys designed this new logo, I was already in, count me in for this one, because this one was a good one. And then obviously you guys also work with Mayagüez, the Indios.
Yes.
So how did you guys just, how that happened?
Yeah. So I got a phone call. It was during the pandemic from Jose Feliciano, who's a good friend of ours. He is the president of the Indios. Mm-hmm. And he was saying, listen, we are one of the most pop, there's a sort of rivalry between Santurce and Mayagüez, and it's sort of the Red Sox Yankees of Puerto Rico. and I'll let them decide which one's which. But he said, like we're a classic team. We have a lot of heritage, and we want to take our identity to the next level. We want to celebrate some of the classic things that we are known for, and we want to create new things. And so during the pandemic, got my clearance, got on a plane, went down to Mayaguez in Puerto Rico and spent a couple of days meeting with staff and fans and community leaders and really uncovering the heart and soul of that team and what made the Indios special. And so we did a couple things for them. Number one is they have classic uniforms. They've had a lot of different lettering over the years and a lot of different variations. And we wanted to give them a major league look. So one of the things that we did was create the new jersey lettering that was inspired by some of the historical stuff from the 70s. A lot of stuff from the 70s we really modernized. We gave them their own proprietary team font. So now they have it's very block. It's very sort of has that old school reference to the 3-stripe burgundy gold stripes that they had back in the 70s. So the lettering feels that way. The jersey lettering feels that way. The font feels that way. They have a new script that we brought in. So that was some of the major league stuff we did. The other thing that they do not own their own walk around character. So they have a I want to say the character's name is Bravine, maybe. I could be mistaken, but they have a walk around character, but it's not a character that they own. It is a Mayaguez sports character. And so one of the things that they're known for is they're known as the city of mangoes.
That's
and
right.
so we created this new character named Manguito. And
Yes, you did.
Manguito is a mango, kind of like, in the spirit of Mr. Redlegs or Mr. Met or the Swinging Friar. And we purposely created Manguito to look like it was created maybe in the 40s and 50s. So it has an old school feel because this is a classic franchise. We didn't want to create a modern character. We wanted to create a character that looked like it's been around for as long as the team has. That was classic.
Right.
So we made the character has that feel that's been around for 50, 60 years. And, almost like it's always been there, but we never, we forgot about it, or it hasn't been celebrated.
Dusted off and brought it back out.
Yeah, we brought it back out. So there's a lot of classic sort of mid-century feeling you'll get from Manguito. So we did Manguito. What else do we work? We're working a lot of celebration. We also, one of the things too, like the Indians are going for with the Guardians was, their imagery was for the past couple of decades was very Native American focused. And one of the things, that I am all about when it comes to Native Americans in representation in sports is, over the years, we've had bad representation of Native Americans in sports. And the opposite, in my experience, is not no representation, it's good representation. So, I don't want to go down a side path too much, but we worked with the Spokane Indians minor league baseball team. That was a collaboration, one of the first between the local tribe, the Spokane tribe, and the Spokane Indians Baseball Club, which is named after the tribe. And they've been around for 100 years. And it was a collaboration between the tribe and us and the team to create something that was good representation, that was authentic. And we're in a season where everybody is running and hiding from controversy. They just want to run and hide under a desk. They want to they don't want any negative press. And so instead of going, running from bad representation and running to good representation, they're running to no representation. And I think the Florida State Seminoles and the Seminole tribe with Florida State University, and their relationship is also a great model. So in the spirit of that, we had just gotten done celebrating the Spokane tribe. All their uniforms are in Salish, which is their Native American language, tribal language. And there was the jersey was the project was such a testament to collaboration and doing good representation well, that the jersey is in the permanent collection of the Baseball Hall of Fame.
That's awesome.
So whenever we're challenged with a representation project, we're always thinking, how do we do this well? How do we do good representation, not eliminate this from history? And so one of the things that when I went to Mayagüez, they had not only was it bad representation of Native Americans, but they were Plains Native Americans, which are completely like on the other side of the world,
right? Exactly,
Puerto Rico. Right?
Yeah, total misrepresentation. Total
it wasn't even bad; it was bad and misrepresentation.
Right.
So we sat down, and I was thinking, like, what are we going to do? Because you have this classic name, the Indios. We're not going to do that. And I was talking with the staff, and I said, okay, like, what is our equivalent here in Puerto Rico? And it's the Taínos.
Right? That's right.
Yes, the Taínos. And I wasn't as familiar, and the staff was teaching me, and they said, like the Taínos were the indigenous people who were here before the Spanish came, before
all the slave trade and everything.
The slave trade, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I said, well, and I said, well, like, what does it mean to be Puerto Rican? And you said, and to be Puerto Rican, and I'm generalizing here, is that we are blood Taino, we are African, and we are Spanish.
All three.
Like those three, the Taino, the African, and the Spanish, like that's what makes us, Puerto Rican. Obviously, I'm generalizing. I'm paraphrasing, but
no, you're doing a good job, because that's how I say it. It's like, we're a nation. We're three, right? We're the Taínos. Right? And a lot of people, oh, we're Indians. No, Taínos, right? And then African.
I'm not Puerto Rican, so I don't speak for the Puerto Ricans. I want to make sure that Ed, slap me across the face if I make a misstep.
You are good, okay, my friend.
But I said, okay, well, what if we, is there like a Taino council? And the team sort of laughed at me, and they said, there's not, that it doesn't, like, there's not, it's not the same. It's not the same as going to the Spokane tribe and meeting with the Spokane tribal elders and saying, tell us these stories. That we're all, we are all Taino. We're all, it's in our blood. And so I thought, okay, well, what are we going to do? So I said, I need to make sure that we do this authentically. And I said, if we're going to do this, it needs to be authentic. It needs to be authentic celebration of Mayagüez. And so the team connected me with a Taino expert at the local university. And we spent several days back and forth having conversations about how to make this authentic. And they said, they really wanted, because they really wanted a Taino warrior to be the emblem. And, I'm sitting here going, and it wasn't my story. I wasn't the subject matter. I had really leaned on them to educate me and to say, because, here in the States, it's like, if you were to say, oh, we want to do a Native American warrior, there are implications to that.
Very much so, yeah.
And you have to be very, you have to be sensitive to that. I think Florida State's done a great job of that, but I'll be candid. I wasn't sure. I was on the fence. Like, are we, what is this? And I said, no, it is their story to tell. We are celebrating their story. And they said they wanted to do Taino warrior. And so we went back and forth about conversations about the markings, the the nose pieces, the earrings. We went back and forth about making sure it's authentic, having references, both artistic references from Puerto Rican artists that we reference, but also ensuring that, even statues that Puerto Ricans had erected to Taino warriors, that we referenced them in that, and did our very best to do two things. One, make it authentic, and two, to let the Puerto Rican experts and Puerto Ricans tell us what story they wanted told that represented them.
And so it's beautiful. I mean, that logo is top notch. It's a really good representation. I'll say that. When you think of a Taino, this is and you want to make a baseball team out of it, that's right there. And you guys, the collaborations that you guys did, it's amazing, because it came out really well done.
And like I said, it made me, I was a little nervous. I was nervous because if you come and you try to design, because here's the thing, every year or every so often there'll be the Super Bowl in San Diego, or there'll be the All-Star game. And as a San Diegan, I can look at the artwork and say, you got it right or you got it wrong. Right. I can say that. And I know that for us as designers that go around the country and sell it, telling other people's stories, I understand the challenge and the burden that is on the designer to make sure that the story feels like that community, or that tells that community story. And but in the season that we're in, where there's so much fear about, and me sort of falling into that fear of getting it wrong, of doing bad representation, I knew that no representation wasn't the answer, but I wanted to make sure we were doing it well. And so I'm glad to hear at least Ed, as a Puerto Rican, that I have one endorsement from you that we got it right.
No, man, this thing is beautiful. And again, and it's like, it's what you say, right? It's a good representation. Are there going to be people that are going to be unhappy? Well, obviously that's just how it goes. You can't do anything about that, right? Like me, there's a lot of people here in Cleveland who are happy with it, and then there's a lot of people that are not happy with it, and it's okay. And as long as we're respectful of that, it's going to totally be okay.
Yeah. And to sort of segue, so at the time we were working on this and we were designing the hats, and I said, like in minor league baseball, we have the minor league baseball logo that goes on the back of the hats, and in Major League Baseball, they have the Major League Baseball logo. Yeah. I said, well, what are we going to put on the back? And they said, well, we have this logo from the Roberto Clemente League, and it was a logo that I thought, wow, is really busy, and it would be, it's going to make it, it's a lot. It was a lot. And so I thought, I don't know where I had the idea. I think on the trip I was thinking about it I was like, man, what'd be cool is if the Roberto Clemente League had a logo that felt in the spirit of the minor league baseball logo, the Major League Baseball. And so, and one of the reasons that was important was so many players either played winter ball down in Puerto Rico, or have played in the Puerto Rican teams and moved up to Major League Baseball.
Correct.
And so there is a relationship between them that is not the same, but not unlike minor league baseball. And so I thought, wow, what if we could create a logo that felt like it was in the same vein of those? And I thought to myself, okay, well, what is if you look at the Major League Baseball logo, the minor league baseball logo, there's a player, and there is a sort of patriotic colors, and I thought, the
red, white,
so I thought,
right?
all right. Okay, okay. So what if we had something that was with Puerto Rican colors, and we had a player in there, and what would make it real Puerto Rican? And man, the Puerto Ricans love their Puerto Rican flag.
We do.
people Puerto Ricans, and I'm gonna be, this is blasphemous. Puerto Ricans love the Puerto Rican flag more than Texans love the Texans flag. I mean, it is like there could be, and I'm not here in California. We love our flag too. We don't like, man, Puerto Ricans love it. So I had this vision. I was looking at the flag. I was down in Puerto Rico. I was like, hey, you know what? What if it was like what if it was like a player swinging a bat, and it was like the bat was one of like the bars and the flag, and then the silhouette of the player was the blue triangle, and then maybe the star was in there with a negative space somehow. I don't know. And I had that in my mind, and then later on, and I forgot about it. And then we were trying to put something on the back of the hat, and I was like, oh man. And I asked Jose, I said, do you think the league would be open? He said, hold on. And so, a couple of texts through WhatsApp, and everybody came back and said, let's take a look at it. And so originally I had we had created this, it was a player swinging the bat, and it was exactly what you thought. But I got corrected very quickly. Was like, it doesn't look like Roberto Clemente. And I was like,
that's right.
I was like, well, what does that matter? And they're like, oh, that was like I was like stepping on the wrong stone. They said, no, you don't understand. Like, this is our, icon, our Babe Ruth. Like, this is the sort of the namesake. And so we literally looked at hundreds of images of Roberto Clemente swinging a bat to get a position that both fit the triangle and but also felt like Roberto Clemente, because there were photos of Roberto Clemente that fit the triangle, but you just didn't feel like him. So that was a struggle. And we finally got it in range. And so the league loved it. And they said, we're going to use it. Let's do it. So, yeah. So, and there's a gold edition this year that has the 21 in the Santurce number font. And it's 21. So that was a fun project. It's crazy because that was like the most of all of it definitely got the most love from the design community than any other project we've worked on. Like, any project in 20 years, everybody's like, oh man, this is like, and part of me thinks it's because it was clever. People love clever logos, right? They're like, oh, can you make the blank look like a blank, right? Yeah. Anytime you make a blank look like a blank, people go, can you make an X look like a Y? Oh man, people love that stuff. I don't know what it is, right? But but people love that logo. And I was like, well, Trash Pandas did $4 million in merchandise sales. We don't care. The Roberto Clemente League logo is the best. So I love the logo. It came out great. I'm really proud about it. Proud of it. Our team, it was a team effort. So many folks worked on that, getting it right. Not just, myself and the league, but our design
it's
team.
Beautiful.
It was a group effort, and I'm glad that so many Puerto Ricans said, you got it right.
Oh yeah, you most certainly did. As soon as it came out and then we saw the release, I immediately told my family, and they're like, "Yo, it's perfect." And you knew right away from looking at it, right? From looking at the outline of the triangle that was Clemente, right there. There was just no doubt about it. That's who he is, and it's been a hit. So congratulations to you guys, because you guys did an amazing job.
I'm so happy.
Awesome. So, and you guys you guys work with many, one of them also here, not too far, the Akron Rubber Ducks, which is an amazing logo. When you think of of logos, you're like, Akron, you're like rubber, and then Rubber Ducks. I'm like, duh. So you guys, the process is you guys immerse yourself in the city or wherever you're at, and then just go all out on research, huh?
Yeah. We spent several days becoming honorary citizens. We meet with fans, community leaders, season ticket holders, staff. We're trying to uncover the story of that community that people want to get behind, that people can celebrate, makes them proud. there are some things like one of the things is we want to be able to create an entire ballpark experience. Like you would go to Disney and you step into Frontierland, you're in the Wild West. Like, what would it be like to step into Akron land? Like what would that look like? We're trying to create a whole experience from the mascots to the name of the team store, the kids club. So we're really thinking about the whole experience. So I remember we were in Hartford, and one of the names was the mantis, which was the praying mantis was the state, I think, insect of Connecticut. But we were like, oh, it's like a stick bug. We could have a stick bat. It would be old school. It'd be like, this would be amazing. Right. And then we were like, well, how do we create a whole experience around the praying mantis?
Right.
Like, it's like the kids club going to be called the larva. Like, what are we going to do? Like, what are we going to do with this thing? So sometimes you have great names that,
it just doesn't.
It doesn't connect.
Yeah. I mean, like you were saying, the Trash Pandas it was great, because it really was. The Pizza Rats, when you guys came out with that one was great. Too bad it's gone, because I mean it was such a good, for merchandising, it was great. I there's some out there that I wish they would be back, Diamond Jacks, you guys, your first one, right? I wish some of them would be back. Which one is one that you wish, as a designer, that you guys spend so much time on, you guys wish they would bring back?
That's a great question. I love the Pizza Rats.
Yeah,
I really do. I know how, I know that was like, there's a lot of like, back and forth about it. And it was definitely a polarizing brand, but, what I love about the Pizza Rats is it was truly pure minor league fun.
Oh yeah.
That was connected with the New York Yankees in a way, or definitely connected to New York City. It was so many elements. There was like the New York element, there was the pizza element, there was the Yankees pinstripes, there was the even the fonts felt like New York Harbor, like fonts. The Pizza Rat script felt like it was the pizza box. I don't know if everybody knew, but like whenever you bought Pizza Rat's merchandise, it was delivered in a pizza box.
It was amazing.
And we had fresh red pepper, crushed red pepper. We had Parmesan cheese packets in it that you would get. I mean, it was an experience. And we wanted to create the hat that as a New Yorker, like if you didn't own a Yankees or a Mets hat, or whatever, like we wanted it to be like New York's minor league baseball team. And how do you have fun with it? And how do you we could own pizza. Like nobody had owned pizza at that time.
Yeah.
Like we could own it. New York should own pizza.
Absolutely.
And if you want it, listen, if you were like, I don't know how I feel about like putting the rat on my hat, great. We had the Subway token version where it was the NYC, but the Y was a slice with like the bite taken out of the back. How like a respectable New Yorker would like eat a slice. So there was so much that was into that. I know it was like I said, it was polarizing and everybody had their opinion about it, but it was infused with story. Yeah. It was infused with story.
And I wish that one would be back. I really do. I'm with you there. I think one of these days, the new team there, they should bring it back just for a heck of it, because it's amazing if they can, obviously, right? All right, so we're at that part of the of my podcast where we are going to go over my famous, not so famous questions.
Love it.
All right, are you ready, my friend?
Let's do it. Famous, not so famous with Jason Klein.
There you go. I love it. Okay. So first thing I'm going to ask is, when you go to a ballpark, what is your snack of choice or your beer or drink of choice?
Oh, that's a good question. I go straight for, I usually get 2 hot dogs. I don't want to wait in line more than once.
Good, smart.
And I usually go, whatever the sort of economy hot dog is, I go one step up. So I want if it's a jumbo dog, great. I go ketchup, mustard, relish, onions. And I usually get, I usually get a beer. Oh gosh. If it's in San Diego's got great craft brew everywhere. It's easier to get craft brew here than it is to get, sort of the staples. I'll get like, I don't know, like usually it's like they have Bud Light. I am also a Dr. Pepper addict. So if they have Dr. Pepper, and I'm not feeling like I'm whatever I'm just not feeling like a beer, and they have Dr. Pepper, it's going to be Dr. Pepper or some light beer. I just like, I go classic.
Love it. I like it. And hot dogs is great. I mean, you can't go wrong with a hot dog.
Yeah.
On your phone, what is the most used emoji that you use?
Man, this is great. Hold on here. My most used emoji. Let me pull it up here. Hold on here. Emoji. My most used emoji is the laugh out loud with the tears.
Yes, that's a good one. I use that one a lot. I use that one a lot.
This is my most used is laugh out loud with the tears.
So favorite board game.
Favorite board game. Ooh. I played a lot of Risk back in the day.
Wow. Okay.
Risk, man. It's kind of old school. Risk. Yeah. Risk. Got it. Risk. I'll play chess too, but I love Risk.
I like it. Okay. Friends or Seinfeld?
Seinfeld, hands down.
Really?
Yeah.
You're
Seinfeld,
one of the few ones that have said Seinfeld.
I must be dating myself. 100%. Like not even like what percent Friends? 0. I mean, Friends is a good show. I'm surrounded by people that like Friends. I get it. I know there's a Friends thing.
There's a show for everybody.
There's a show for everybody. Seinfeld is like, if there's nothing on, like, I don't want to watch anything. It's like, oh, Seinfeld's on. Hands down, it's on.
Here we go.
Immediately. Yeah.
What is the dumbest way that you've been injured?
The dumbest way I've been injured?
Yeah. Any kind of injury, the dumbest way that you've been injured. I'm putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, these are great. These are really good questions. The dumbest way I've been injured.
I picked up a 10-pound dumbbell, pulled my back.
Yeah, I've pulled some stuff at the gym before that was dumb. Like that was dumb.
Like really? A 10-pound weight? Really? I just literally just picked it up and I pulled my back. Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna be really like over the top. Like I get nervous and I bite my fingernails. I've injured myself doing that. And that's really dumb. That's stupid.
I like. Hey, it's a dumb way of doing it.
Myself. Yeah, that's something I wish I didn't do, but yeah, I've done it. I've done that a couple of times.
Okay. What is the best Wi-Fi name that you've seen?
Definitely not G-rated. That I could say on this podcast. But I always, these questions, these are really good. I'm always fascinated by the Yahoo out there that decides to put some sort of like not appropriate Wi-Fi account on it, because you're going through, it's like, Netgear 3791,
all these
and
long
you
numbers.
have like free Cox Wi-Fi or free airport Wi-Fi, and then everybody's looking for Wi-Fi, but the problem is that like then some Yahoo's got to screw it up, and you don't know who they are because it's just a radio wave. You don't know where they're at, and they got to put it out there, and and then
they just want to mess with people, and that's okay.
They don't, and I got to have a conversation with my kids I do not want to have. Yeah. To all you people out there putting those like
Yeah. we're gonna leave it there because you're totally right, and then I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Do you think aliens exist?
Do I think aliens exist? Okay, I definitely believe that there is life out there outside of Earth other than us. Like there's gotta be, right? Like
there has to be, right?
There has to be life.
You cannot just be alone on this whole,
Yeah. They're gonna like there was water once on whatever planet.
Mm-hmm.
So there's got to be like, okay, whatever. So intelligent life, I think there can't not be.
Good answer.
I gotta believe they would find us first. I can't
Mhm.
believe for as big as we are, as big as the outer space is, that that we are the most intelligent. Like that seems so arrogant. Like there's got to be
I
something
agree.
else. Whether it's the universe is so big that this hadn't got here yet. I can't believe we are the most intelligent species. But also, like, it may be, hey, yeah, they're like they're like multi-million life years away, and they don't have the ability to get to us. Like that's conceivable to me.
I
But
can see
I
that.
don't think I can't believe that we're the most intelligent or developed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm with you there. Okay. First celebrity crush.
Ooh, first celebrity crush. Oh man, I have to look this up. There was oh man, what was the there was like a TV show on, it was like Sunday afternoons. It was like it wasn't like a it was like a, it was like a, it was not Xena Warrior Princess, but it was like a when it wasn't Conan, there was another dude, Sorbo. Who was that?
Hercules.
Hercules. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was some woman on Hercules. Oh gosh, you're gonna we gotta Google it. We gotta Google it now. Hercules. Oh man,
God.
I don't know. There was some woman on. Here, yeah. Okay, here we go. Hercules. We're cycling through. I don't know.
Let's see. I'm trying to find out now too as well, because Lucy
This is
Lawless
back
was
in-
in it as well.
Yeah, no, it wasn't her. It wasn't her. She was like, oh wow, gosh. Okay, so it's like, man, this is some questions right here. Okay, yeah, it was Kevin Sorbo, and there was like a Hercules show on, and yeah, young Jason Klein was like, man, that girl in that show, who is it?
Oh my
I
God,
don't
I
know.
can't. I just saw this and I'm looking at it. I cannot believe what's his name was in this show. Oh my God. Well, obviously he Sorbo was in it, but this kid who's famous now, who is in that, what was that? See, now I'm drawing a blank because
Yeah.
we're trying to go for it. Oh my God, I'm gonna draw a blank.
Okay, so definitely Hercules. I don't know. There was yeah, there was
No.
a
I'm gonna look for it and then I'm gonna put it up the picture when I see it because I'm gonna remember now.
wow. Excuse me. This is like really like, first of all, like this is my earliest memory. Yeah, this is my earliest memory. I don't know. Yeah, the audience is like, just get with it. We don't care. We don't care what her name was. We don't care.
All right.
Yeah, it was Hercules. There was like, it was Kevin Sorbo, and there was some woman on the show, and it was like, oh man, I got a crush on this woman. I don't know who
I'm with it. I'm with it on that one.
Definitely in high school, it was Elizabeth Hurley.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, all right,
I'm with you there.
There you go.
Okay. So let's see. I was gonna ask you name a Spanish, say something in Spanish word, but you've done plenty of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip over that one.
Okay.
It's strangest. I'll give you the last one here, my friend. Strangest thing that you've ever eaten.
Takoyaki.
I'm sorry, what?
Takoyaki in Japan. We did a project for Shinichi Hoshino, who was like the godfather of baseball in Japan.
Okay.
We were doing a logo for Shinichi Hoshino. So we go to Osaka, and we go to Tokyo, and we went to we went to Osaka, and we takoyaki is I'm sure listeners know what takoyaki is. It's like octopus donuts, and it was like,
wow,
it was just not my jam.
No,
I try. Yeah, it was just not my jam.
You'll try something once, but then after that, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm totally not. No.
Yeah.
Anything squid or octopus, I'm okay without. So I'll pass on that.
It was that was just not my jam. I mean, to everybody's got their own thing. Like some people might be like, man, takoyaki. Casey loves takoyaki. He's like, oh God, I love takoyaki. Just wasn't my jam. I'm
Nothing
sorry.
wrong with that.
I'm sorry.
Awesome. Hey, again, thank you so much for doing this. This was a lot of fun, my friend. So where can people find your work on social media? Just I take it it'll be Brandiose on Twitter and Instagram.
Brandiose.com. Yeah.
Love it. I'll put the links.
Brandiose.com.
I'll put the links on everything when I do release the episode, so that way everybody can go. Make sure you guys are following Brandiose because they are putting some good work out there, guys.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate you. Man, great questions. This was fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Take care.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye. Hope you guys enjoyed that episode with Jason Klein. I mean, come on now, right? Brandiose is one of the top branding companies out there when it comes to the minor leagues. And also, don't forget, they are doing some work with the United Soccer League, Tormenta FC, FC Juarez, El Paso Locomotives. You know, I mean, they got some cool logos out there for soccer as well. So don't forget that work that they're doing, okay? And then before I go, guys, you guys already know, okay? Make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast. That way you guys are always in the know when a new episode drops, okay? As well as make sure that you guys are giving it 5 stars. 5 stars means I go up on the rankings. Up on the rankings mean more people get to listen to this just like you guys are, okay? As always, guys, keep on grinding and always support the minor leagues. See ya.
This podcast is part of the Curved Brim Media Network. Here are some of the other members of Curved Brim Media.
Hi, this is Ed Rivera of the Dad Hat Chronicles. Join me as I interview people just like you and players, coaches, GMs on the path that led you to become a fan of the sport.
I'm Paul Caputo, and on the Baseball by Design podcast, I talk to minor league baseball teams, designers, and other super interesting people about what these minor league baseball logos mean. And I talk a little bit about ice cream helmets.
What's up, Bucketheads? I'm Anna DiTommaso, and each week on the Baseball Bucket List podcast, I speak with a different fan about their favorite baseball memories, what the game means to them, and what's left to check off on their baseball bucket list.
Hey guys, this is Patrick Larson from the Minor League Baseball Hat History Series, and in every episode I go through the history of minor league teams through my personal collection of hats. You can find me on Twitter at @PatLarson1. I hope you guys enjoy.
This is Patrick
and Corey
of BaseballMapper.com, and we have made an interactive map to help highlight all baseball teams from the majors down to collegiate summer leagues.
We want to bring you closer to baseball. So get on the site and find a team near you today.
Learn more about Curved Brim Media at curvedbrimmedia.com.